The air in the clearing is a taut drummed skin, stretched between awe and sacrilege. Kale stands at the edge of the ferns, one hand resting on the scaled flank of the pack alpha. A male Deinonychus, as he calls Gash-Claw. The creature's head, a narrow wedge of predatory engineering, swivels on a muscular neck. It's unblinking. Bird-like eye fixed on the dense jungle. It makes no sound. But a low, resonant vibration travels from its chest into Kale's palm. The rest of the claw packed. 5 others move like liquid shadows at the tree line. Their infamous sickle-claws held aloft, poised. This is the moment. For generations, these swift killers have been a terror. A blur of teeth and talon that could strip a man to bone in heartbeats. Now, they are a tool. A weapon. A violation of the natural order. From a rocky outcrop 50 paces away, the elder BOR watches, his face a mask of granite. Beside him, the other traditionalists clutch their spears, their knuckles white. Their weapons are masterpieces of osteodontocratic technology, points fashioned from the sharpened teeth of lesser predators and the horn of a styracosaurus. But they feel like children's toys against the primal fear coiling in their guts. To them, Kale has not forged an alliance. He has invited a plague into their house. He has spat on the wisdom of their human ancestors, who knew the one great truth of this prehistoric life: you do not bargain with the teeth at your throat. BOR sees the no. Intelligent communication between man and beast, a flick of Kale's wrist. A responsive chitter from the pack, and he sees the end of their kind. This is not the next step in hominid history. It is a monstrous shortcut to extinction. A low bellow echoes through the trees, heavy and mournful. The target, a lone Triceratops, old and scarred, pushed from its herd, its massive frillish chip, one of its brow horns splintered near the base. But it is still a walking fortress of muscle and keratin. For the clan, a kill like this means weeks of security, bone for tools, hide for shelters. It is a prize worth any risk. Kale gives a sharp, two-minor stoned whistle. The hunt begins. The claw in his back explodes from the foliage, not in a suicidal frontal assault, but in a display of terrifying, coordinated grace. To peel off to the right, 3 to the left. Their movements a living diagram of flanking tactics. They are a distraction, a storm of shrieking, leaping fury designed to bleed the giant's stamina and focus. The old bull roars, a sound of outrage and confusion, swinging its colossal head to track the blurs of motion that harry its flanks. Its great beak snapping at empty air. It is a dance of death, and the dinosaurs are leading. Kale and his 5 hunters now advance, moving low and fast under the cover of the chaos. Their spears held ready. They are no longer the primary predators. They are the final, precise strike in a complex machine of death. BOR watches the impossible unfold and feels a cold certainty grip him. This unnatural success is a far greater threat than any failure could have been. The Triceratops bellows, a deep, earth-minus shaking sound of agony and fury. One of the Deinonychus has made a suicidal leap, its sickle-claw hooking deep into the giant's hind leg, hanging on with a tenacity that defies reason. The herbivore stumbles, its massive weight thrown off minus balance for a critical second. That is all Kale needs. No. He screams, his voice swallowed by the chaos. His hunters surge forward. They do not aim for the armored hide or the bony frill. They drive their spears, products of generations of advancing primitive technology, into the softer flesh of the underbelly, and the vulnerable joint where the thick leg meets the torso. The old bull collapses, first to its knees, then with a shuddering crash that shakes the very soil. The air fills with the coppery scent of blood. The claw back descends, not with the uncontrolled frenzy of wild predators, but with a chilling discipline. They wait for Kale's signal before they begin to feed, tearing at the entrails designated for them. The clan gathers. The mood is not one of pure celebration. It is heavy, divided. On one side, Kale's hunters work alongside the Deinonychus, a grotesque but efficient to blow of interspecies cooperation. The beasts, sated on their share, stand guard over the carcass, their sharp eyes scanning the jungle perimeter for scavengers. On the other side, Boar's followers stand apart, their faces grim. They watch as Kale uses a flint knife to carve away a prime section of meat, tossing a piece to Gashminer's claw, who catches it deftly. The act of sharing food, the most sacred bond among Homo sapiens, is being extended to monsters, to BOL. This is the final corruption. This single hunt has brought more meat than 3 of their traditional ones. And with 0 human casualties, yet the price is the soul of their people. Their entire hominid history has been a struggle against these creatures, a testament to the superiority of the human mind over brute force. Kale has inverted that history, surrendering their dominance for the borrowed power of a beast's claw. That night, the fires burned high, roasting haunches of meat that drip fat into the flames. The clan eats in a tense, simmering silence. Bor rises, his shadow dancing on the cave wall behind him. "You see this feast?" he calls out, his voice rough with anger. "You taste this meat, and you think it is a gift. It is a law, a poison that makes us forget who we are." He points a trembling finger at Kale, who sits stroking Gashminer's claw's head. He has taught the blade to think. He has given our enemy a place by our fire. How long until the pet decides it wants to be the master? How long until it is our children it guards over, not as protectors, but as keepers of an ardor? Kale stuns, his face hard. "We have survived. BOL, we are stronger than we have ever been. Is the old way better if it leads only to an empty stomach and a fresh grave?" The clan murmurs, torn between the undeniable proof of a full belly and the deep minus-seated, primal fear Bo so expertly ignites. The argument solves nothing. The chasm between them is too wide to be bridged by words. Later, in the dark hollow where his loyalists sleep, Bo makes his decision. His heart, he tells himself, is one of altruism. He is not murdering Kale's pets. He is performing a necessary amputation to save the clan from a spreading gangrene. They will not harm Kale. They will simply destroy his monsters, breaking the unnatural bond and forcing him back into the human fold. The whisper of treason becomes a plan, sealed with grim nods in the flickering firelight. The attack comes in the cold, grey hour before dawn. Theo and his 5 most fervent followers move like ghosts through the camp, their bare feet silent on the packed earth. Their targets are not the sweeping humans, but the 6-scaled forms of the cruel minus pack, curled near the embers of the main fire. They see this not as murder, but as a cleansing, an exorcism. The first spear, a heavy thing of ash wood and sharpened horn, is driven down into the flank of a sweeping Deinonychus. There is a choked, gargling shriek, a frantic scrabbling of claws on stone, and then silence. But the second spear misses its mark. It glances off the bony skull of another raptor, which erupts with a sound of pure, piercing fury. The camp explodes into pandemonium. Kale is on his feet in an instant, the cry of his wounded animal a blade in his gut. He sees the scene in a horrifying flash. Bo are standing over a dying raptor. Another hunter wrestling with a second, the rest of the pack scattering in confusion and terror. But then, Gashminer's claw, the alpha, launches himself not at the trees, but at the nearest attacker. The man screams as the sickle-claw opens his leg from knee to hip. The line has been crossed. This is no longer a culling of beasts. It is war. Careless hunters, awakened by the screams, grab their weapons and charge. Not at some invading beast, but at their own king. The clearing becomes a maelstrom of desperate, clumsy violence. A man Kale has known since birth swings a stone axe at his head. He parries with his spear shaft, the impact jarring his bones. There is no strategy here, no honor, just the grunting, terrified reality of men trying to kill men they had shared food with the day before. The Deinonychus, their loyalty absolute, become the deciding factor. They are faster, more lethal, and they fight without the hesitation that plagues the humans. They leap and slash, defending their pack-minus brother Kale with a ferocity that chills the soul. Bor, his face a mask of righteous fury, sees Gash-Grum, all one of his followers. This is it, the prophecy fulfilled. The beast turning on its creators. He bellows and charges the Alpha, his great spear leveled. Kale sees it coming and throws himself at the Elder, a flying tackle that sends them both sprawling into the dirt. They roll and grapple, two architects of their people's future, clawing and punching like apes. Bor is stronger, his rage giving him power. He forces Kale onto his back, raising a flint dagger for the final blow. In that moment, Gash-Claw, limping from a deep gash in its side, sees the threat. It lunges. The Alpha's signature weapon, the terrible sickle-claw, does not slash. It punches forward. A single, precise, killing strike that pierces Bor's throat. The Elder's eyes go wide, staring at Kale, blood bubbling from his lips in a final, silent accusation. The fighting stops. The survivors, a handful on each side, stare at the body of their fallen elder, killed by the very monster he warned them against. The victory is absolute, and it is meaningless. The clan is broken, its blood spilled by its own hands, soaking the ground around the dying embers of their last fire together. In the quiet that follows, there are no songs of victory. Kale stands with the shattered remnants of his people, less than half of what they were. They have the carcass of the Triceratops, the loyalty of the 5 remaining Deinonychuses, and the ghosts of their brothers to haunt their sleep. They have proven that innovation can conquer tradition, but the cost was their community, the very bedrock of what it means to be human. This brutal schism was more than a tribal squabble. It was a bloody birth pang of the future. It is a grim footnote in the epic of human evolution, a moment where the path forward was paved with the bones of those who looked back. This is the brutal calculus of progress for these ancient humans. For every leap of ingenuity, a sacrifice is demanded. For every bond forged with the new, a bond with the old must be severed. If you wish to trace the veins of courage and consequence that run from their world to ours, follow this chronicle, and listen to the echoes in the stone. Their desperate gamble, this unnatural alliance, was a seed of audacity. The audacious idea that humanity did not have to accept its place as prey, that it could seize the teeth and claws of the world and turn them to its own purpose. For in the long silence of prehistory, the loudest sound is the cracking of the old world making way for the new. But on the salt-sprayed cliffs of the great eastern sea, a new terror learns to haunt the turning of the tide.